All right, hey, hope you guys are doing well. I'm coming at you from Satsop Business Park. This is in Elma, Washington, and pretty cool. This is an abandoned or not finished nuclear power plant site. You can see there's one cooling tower right there. I think that's where the reactor would have been. At least I think so. And there's the second cooling tower right there. I think those are about 500 feet tall, if I'm not mistaken. 480, 500 feet from what I remember reading a few years ago. This place is just really cool because it's always kind of like this. There's no one here. This was an abandoned project back in the 1970s. You can read up on it, but basically there was a bond passed in Washington state for, I think, $4 billion. It was one of the biggest bond defaults in, I think, the nation at the time. And, basically nuclear energy was, there had been many plants that were being constructed, and there was a couple meltdowns that happened in 3 Mile Island was the main one in, I think, 1979. So they were in the process of building this thing, and basically the public sentiment had changed, so they pretty much abandoned the project. And these cooling towers are, I think, like 80% basically complete, from what I remember reading. There's a dog right there. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy, how you doing? Got a dog here. Hey. Hey, buddy. Go ahead, buddy. Go ahead.
One thing I can't train him. I have to go see everybody.
Yeah. Hey, go ahead, buddy.
Let's go.
All right, dog's heading off. So, okay, back to the educational video. But so basically, there's really no one ever here. I've been here probably 10 times ever since I started riding motorcycles. And it's just a nice ride. It's probably about 100 miles outside of Seattle towards the Washington coast. I'm going to a city called Ocean Shores today, which is on the coast, out on the Washington coast. So it's a nice little ride out here. I like to come out here in the summer, just because it's a fun place to ride the bike to. But anyways, this is pretty cool. I would look on YouTube for other videos. They do drone shots, and I think there's a couple people that went inside this tower, and you can see up inside of this nuclear cooling tower. And they even go, I think, into that building. And I don't know if it's that building or if it's that building. I'm not an expert on it. I'm just interested in it and kind of fascinated by it. I think a couple people did die off of that tower when they were building it in the late 70s or mid 70s. And, it's just really a cool place. All this money was spent here, and the project has just been sitting here for over 40 years now with essentially nothing going on here. There are a few businesses and stuff. It's deemed a business park, although a lot of these buildings are, kind of pieces of junk. That one in particular, and some of these other ones. And there's like a for lease sign over there on some of these properties that are up here. So you're kind of in the middle of nowhere here, though. You're not really close to any real city. It's kind of like way out of the way. Probably like an hour to hour and a half outside of more populated areas. So you can see as soon as this project was abandoned that kind of just sat here. Let me know what you guys think on it. It's pretty cool. I thought I'd just share this because it reminds me of like Call of Duty 4. When you were playing that map that just, I don't know, there's video games where basically it's kind of like an abandoned area, and this always reminds me of that. In Chernobyl is another one. I think it was called Block was the map on Call of Duty, but just kind of like a weird apocalyptic type site up here. And You know, it's crazy to think that all, like I said before, all this time and energy and, you know, people dying, building these towers, and it was never used. They do have a couple towers in Richland, Washington, which is in it's the Hanford site, and I think maybe only a few of the towers are still being used. That was the site actually where they built the plutonium for, or the uranium, plutonium. Again, I'm not an expert on it, but that's where they refined the bomb that was used in Japan. I think it was Hiroshima and Nagasaki. One of them or both of them was used with basically the plutonium, uranium process that was generated from that plant in Hanford. So these are really efficient. Nuclear energy is really efficient, but it's dangerous, right? If you have a meltdown, or, you know, again, everyone's kind of familiar with Chernobyl. You have humans that get involved that, you know, don't know what they're doing, or the processes aren't really kept in check, and then you have a meltdown. And Chernobyl was just a complete disaster. You watch the documentary on it, you see the guys scooping off the you know, the blown up particles on the roof, and they're just, everyone's that's doing that's getting an insane amount of radiation, and you can see that it basically affected all of them negatively the rest of their life, and that whole town had to be essentially abandoned. I think the radiation's gone down there since, but just not a good situation. I have read a little bit that nuclear energy has become a lot more safe. This was kind of when these were being built, there was more, chances of things potentially going wrong. I think it's been improved now to where basically it's engineered so well that nothing could really go wrong. But it's hard to convince the public of those things when, you know, if something does go wrong, it's catastrophic, right? You have nuclear fallout, you have the whole area having radiation and people being exposed and a lot of people dying. So, but this is just really cool. If any of you guys are in Washington or close to this area, it's again, there's like no one here, like ever. So it's a pretty cool place to come visit. And I didn't even really know it was here until I started riding motorcycles. And anyways, I'm just kind of rambling now, but let me know what you think. It's pretty cool. You guys have a good day. I'm gonna enjoy the ride, and we'll see you on the next one.